So I'm going to tell you a story about Leigh. She is a caring, outgoing young woman with lots of ambition and goals. She had a reputation of being very dangerous, and she spent a majority of her life in treatment where people spent time trying to figure out how to fix her and not support her. She did spend a lot of her days in a restraint chair and an isolation room. When I met her, we started the person-centered planning process. And I sat down with her and I talked to her about what the process was. And we started with figuring out who would be a part of her team. And as we were going through and doing a relationship map, she identified family and she identified some friends from church and just friends that she knew in her community. And she sent out the invitations. And at that time, initially, she decided she didn't want to have any staff at her person-centered planning meeting. So we went to the meeting, and her aunt was there. Her uncle was there. Her dad was there. Her two friends from church were there. Her friend from just hanging out in the community was there. And we started to understand what her hopes and dreams were and what she wanted to accomplish with her life and the kind of life that she dreamed and hoped to live. And we learned a lot about Leigh at that time. And she explained how she wanted to get married one day because she had a fiance. She wanted to learn how to cook. She wanted to have a dog. She wanted to take a vacation because she had never been on a vacation and she was in her late 20s. She wanted to spend time alone without staff. That was one of her dreams at the time. As we went through the process, her family and friends were very eager to be involved and helped her to find the path to these dreams. And we began with some action steps, and family and friends volunteered to do some of these things, look into where she could spend time volunteering with animals, learning how to use Metro Mobility. She was interested in working at childcare agencies, so connecting her with agencies, doing some informational interviews, doing some observations at the childcare center, lots of different things. She wanted to learn how to cook. Her friends spent time teaching her how to cook and using cooking utensils, specifically knives that she was never allowed to use before. And actually at one of the person-centered planning meetings that I facilitated, she cooked the whole meal, chicken enchiladas, hands down the best chicken enchiladas I've ever had. She started taking the cooking classes. She also had a dream of singing a solo on a stage, and she got involved in some singing classes, and she did sing that solo on a stage, and she was beaming during it, and she was beaming when she was done. Through all this person-centered planning with her team, she really started to get the life that she wanted and that she dreamed about. And through the process, she had a Rule 40 program, which allowed for the programmatic use of restraint. That program was discontinued, and she physically had the document and put it in the shredder. She also had been committed to the Commissioner of Human Services. That had come up at the time to determine if that needed to be renewed or if it could be discontinued. And it was actually determined that she didn't need to be committed any longer. And that was huge for her. Another big piece of that during this process is she had the restraint chair in her house, and we were able to move that completely out. It was never used again. I'll tell you a little bit about Leigh today. She went on a vacation. She went to San Diego and she swam with the dolphins, and she had an amazing time. Came back and told stories and showed pictures. She recently got a new dog. She said that she sent the dog to doggy boot camp, so it'd be trained. So when it came back to her house, it'd be good to go. She's spending time alone in the community, so she'll go out shopping without her staff. She's spending her time volunteering without her staff. These were huge for her. She wanted to do this alone. And at volunteering, she volunteers at the nursing home. She takes the individuals to the beauty shop, or she plays cards with them. She also started taking Metro Mobility by herself, so she's getting around without her staff. She does have a cell phone, so if she needs anything, she's able to call people, and she's happy, and she's living the life that she always wanted. With using the person-centered thinking approach, we can really get at a context and get at somebody's quality of life, and it's not necessary to use individualized behavior supports. We may not need to use interventions to deal with challenging behavior.